Tuesday, late night happy hour. Steve Cofield, Big Mac, and Guns Out, Sun Out, whatever it is. Sun's Out, Guns Out. What's going on here with the muscle shirt? Alex Crawford, our Southern California friend. Intimidation factor tonight?
I'm getting into cutoffs. I'm getting into cutoffs this summer. This is the summer of the cutoff. About one shirt a week, I'm cutting the sleeves off. So this was last week's victim, my Serbian Heritage Night shirt from a Clippers game 2 years ago. So Squad Serbia, if you can see that.
That's good. It's good because it's about to be the year of the sweatpants, so you got to balance it out for at least one summer.
Well, I am wearing sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants with the tucked in. I think that's the look. I don't know if they've made that official yet in like
no, it's definitely
mags, but that's the look.
Yeah, if 2020 had a look that, yeah, you have like your state bird, your state flag. I don't know. This is your state outfit. I don't know what I'm saying, but you get where I'm going with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
McKinnell, I don't envision you, because you're a cargo shorts guy, I don't envision you as a sweatpants guy.
Oh, I'm a sweatpants guy. How dare you? Absolutely.
Sweatpants.
Yes. I like how you're like clairvoyant though. As I'm wearing camo shorts with cargos. But no, who doesn't love a good sweatpants, Steve Cofield? Come on.
I'm not a sweatpants guy.
What do you mean you're not? What do you mean?
I don't own any.
Whoa, wait a minute. Now, there's not being a person, like being a supporter. Like, I'm not a so-and-so guy. But everyone has a pair of sweatpants. You have to have, like, an old Raggedy Jets Rutgers pair somewhere.
No.
You don't own a pair? Is that a Vegas thing? Is that because of the heat? What is that?
I might have, like, one old gray pair, but the waist is probably like 3-4 sizes down. But no, I'm not a sweatpants guy. I wear cargo shorts until I can. Basically, I try to wear them as far into the winter as possible and as early out of the winter as possible. And then the rest of the time it's jeans. I'm just not a sweatpants guy. I'm not a tracksuit guy. I'm from Jersey. You know, you'd figure, hey, I have a couple of mobbed up looking suits. I don't. I do. You know what I do have? I do have some prizes in the garage because I'm a hoarder. So I do have some like really shitty looking like velour, like Fernando Vargas giveaway sweatsuits.
Well, that's cool.
But, I mean, it's not really. No, it's not.
Yeah, Big Mac, Ryan, my first time meeting you, and then you open up the show saying I'm a cargo shorts guy, or Cofield says you're a cargo shorts guy, and that's all I need to know. I know we really didn't do the proper introductions, but that's all I need to know.
And I want to be very clear. I own no other cargo shorts except camo shorts. So I feel like my lack of style is camouflaged. I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing camouflage. I feel like I can get by that I'm not wearing cargo shorts. There's been a pivot happening with cargo shorts. I wasn't okay with it, but I've gotten around to it. So I guess this is it's my last holdout. It's my stronghold. I will never give up camo shorts. I've been wearing them since like 95.
Yeah, we're militant about this. Like, I might not be out there getting sprayed in the face with pepper bullets, but if it comes down to cargo shorts, I'm out there. I'm taking one for the team. Ryan and I have had so many rants. You get these like early 30-somethings writing columns like every 3 years, like, be a man, it's time to be an adult, put away the cargo shorts. No. The only person I listen to on short selection is I actually did I bought some shorts about 2 years ago because we had Kmart's closing here, and I'm very cheap. And it was a clearance, and I bought some shorts. I didn't put them on for like 3 months, and then I put them on. I was like, whoa, these are nut huggers. This is like Larry Bird. They're like mid-thigh, and the SO, the significant other, was like, I kind of like the regular shorts because you don't realize cargo shorts actually shrink you. You look shorter. So I was like, well, I need some extra height, so if I can show off the thunder thighs every once in a while, then I'm going with the short shorts. But I'll tell you, when you get in the car and the shorts ride up, you're like, what is happening here? This is me at like 11 back in 1981.
Allow me to try to bridge this gap here. I actually have 2 pairs of cargo sweatpants that I find to be both comfortable and functional. Cofield, perhaps that's where you could get involved, and I think Big Mac, that might be something that might, like as our viewer listener Brady points out, I love cargo sweat. I actually have. Well, no, listen to this. I don't want to one up myself here, but I have a pair. I have a pair of cargo sweat pants that have the zip off into shorts, so you can switch.
So it's like those like the fly fishermen, but with sweatpants.
But a little more urban, yeah.
That's so many worlds colliding in one garment. That's amazing.
And guess what brand they are? They're like an off-brand.
Cabela.
No, they're off-brand sporting good. They're like a sports brand, but they're off-brand. What would you?
My guess would be like a Russell.
Close. Spalding. They're Spalding brand.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Spalding merch, like Spalding attire, is so good.
Hey, they make a great basketball. That's all I can. I don't know if I've revisited the clothing anytime soon. I still can't get over the fact Cofield, like when it's 32 degrees out and it's 30 and you get that dry, cold ass wind and you're taking your feral cats out. I don't know what it is you do, but I mean, I've got weird big ass hats. I've got weird big ass hoodies and I got weird big ass sweatpants. Like I love being warm in the winter here. So yeah, I'm definitely a sweatpant guy. I don't know. I just don't know how it's so weird to me. That's so weird to me. And you like weird big ass stuff. You like have weird everything.
Yeah, pretty much. We have a lot of baseball to get to, and this is right up my alley because I'm a sore loser, so I would absolutely break skulls if I was throwing against the Astros. That's coming up, but I forgot, and I didn't run this by you guys, but I think you can handle this. We started on a topic at the end of Cofield and Company, and as it turned out, it was sort of like kind of what's his versus thing. I don't know. I'm acting like an old guy, and I keep acting like I don't know what it is, but I've seen it with I haven't really watched him, but Babyface and Teddy Riley and DMX and Snoop. So they were sort of doing this with the theme of brownies versus cookies, and it was Stan Van Gundy was trying to shit on Jamel Hill, which I don't know, sounds like some sort of like porn fantasy from 8 years ago around the NBA. But let's see, cookies was the side of Jamel Hill, and SVG tried to come over the top, and he was like, "Cut it out. Brownies are the best." I did not get to give my opinion. I will tell you, Ari and Adam Hill were like gung-ho for the brownies. And I think Ari tried to just dunk big time on the audience who were cookie lovers by saying that we're asking the question, what goes best with ice cream? And I was thrown for a loop because I am a cookie guy. They're brownie guys. I'm cookie team. I'm team cookie over team brownie.
Yeah, I'm disgusted. I don't know why in 2020, when everything is so divided, that we have to drive this fictional wedge.
Another wedge
between cookies and brownies. It's bullshit. I mean, like we don't have enough turmoil and tumult and going back and forth that we just can't not have a day where we're not arguing about our favorite foods. They're both great. We all win.
Yeah, I guess they are both good, but I'd like to drive the wedge in a little bit. I thought that maybe this could be something we all agree on. I know that shorts, cargo shorts, sweatpants, sweat cargo shorts may have driven us apart, but I'm a cookie guy too, Cofield. Hardcore. A good brownie is great. My mom makes great brownies. My aunt down in Texas makes great brownies. They're delicious. They go great with ice cream. But I think the diversity and the variety of cookies, depending on your mood, time of day, what they pair with, dunk them in milk. Also have them with ice cream sandwich with the cookie, snickerdoodles, oatmeal raisin, peanut butter, chocolate chip.
You put all those things on brownies?
Can you though?
Yeah, ice cream. Where? It's caramel. See, now you're so authoritative with the backing of cookies. I feel like Team Brownie needs some representation. I just feel like they're both gifts from God. And I don't know why we would fight over this. I know this isn't good radio, but I mean, it's just, again, it's disgusting. They're both great. Well, I think it depends on the heat. I think it depends on how they're served, how they're prepared. Do you have some lazy ass Midwest mom who's cooking out of a box? Or do you have do you have someone that actually cares about the process that's doing it from scratch? I think it's all about the care you put into the preparation.
Let me ask you this though.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's go to the bottom tier. Let's go to like the depth, the depth of conference. Not the top heavy, but a bad cookie is going to be better than a bad brownie because you get that dry in your mouth, cotton mouth-esque brownie from your 99-cent store, your cheap brownie. Whereas a bad cookie, I think, is still. I actually like bad cookies. I seek them out sometimes, like the cheap Ralph's or Vaughn's or whatever store-bought cookies are actually, there's a place for them, whereas a bad brownie is garbage to me.
Yeah, I will back you up on the rando cookie quest, right?
Yes.
Where you want to like, oh, that's $1.19 or that's 99 cents. Yeah, and they usually are delicious because they're made with like the cheapest ingredients. But here, I mean, in America, we've gotten really good at that, making like really tasty things that are inexpensive. And yeah, some stores like Ralph's or Vons or Albertsons. Okay, Albertsons doesn't really, but we talk about Trader Joe's a lot. Now, Trader Joe's is a bit on the other end of the spectrum, but
TJ's is bomb. TJ's is good.
Yeah. They're not exactly 99 cents, but
they're not fucking.
You make their own cookies.
I'm actually shocked by McKinnell here. You and I are two of the only radio hosts / partners that I know of that actually go and share cookies together.
Oh, that's true. And those are.
I thought we had a bond here, and I figured this was a slam dunk. And I didn't know what Alex was going to say, but I thought Ari and Adam Hill would be left behind, and we'd have a 4-2 split here. But I love him so much. Steve, if there was a brownie store that was open till 3 a.m. next to our Korean barbecue spot, I would get brownies as well. It's more about convenience. I love them both equally. As long as they're hot and they're fresh, as Alex made the point, a bad cookie or a bad brownie specifically, yeah, it can ruin your night.
So wait, let me get this straight. There's a place that you guys get late night K barbecue, and then there's a fresh brownie bakery next door. This is in Las Vegas.
Yeah, the happy hour doesn't even start. The happy hour doesn't even start till 11:30.
I thought it was 10.
My God.
No, maybe. Okay. But yeah, so it's a little bit later, and it's open till I think 2 a.m. But yeah, the cookie store is open till 3.
I mean, aside from not being able to pay mortgages and jobs being lost and savings being depleted, and our lives ruined, I would say the worst thing that's happened is our Korean barbecue place really isn't open much. It keeps opening and closing. So, and frankly, we've heard the whole time what kills the COVID, the heat. I mean, McKinnell and I are sweating over a Korean barbecue. There's not be COVID in there. Open the place.
It's safe. There's an open flame. You can just burn the COVID.
Yeah, you can't really do K barbecue to go either.
No,
it's not the same.
No. God, it's good though. Don't you miss it? Let's shut this down. They open right now. They shut it down again. Do you know?
Oh, I think they still got to be open, right? I'll check. I'll check. I hope they're still open.
God, I love that place.
You're on early with Sharon tomorrow, right?
Yeah, a little bit early. So we might be able to do a date night on a Wednesday night and go get cookies afterwards. And then we'll take pictures and send them to Alex. It's very much now I feel like we came back together. That wedge that was splitting us.
Please send pics. Send me pics, Cofield.
It's open till midnight.
Okay. Right now I'm not happy with Chick-fil-A. I feel like it's inferior to Popeyes. I'm tired of hearing Adam rant and rave about Chick-fil-A. So are the cookies that good, really? I am a pro cookie guy, so I guess I would take, even if, to Alex's point earlier, even if Chick-fil-A's cookies suck, I'm still going to take them over a brownie. Just the way it is.
I mean, everything there is kind of good. I don't know if, Alex, you're in SoCal. They got Chick-fil-A in SoCal.
We've got Chick-fil-A, but I actually side with Cofield on this. I back Popeyes harder than Chick-fil-A. Like, if we're just talking chicken and not politics, I back them harder. And then if we bring in the whole LGBT thing, I back them twice as hard. So,
yeah,
actually,
Cofield? Sorry, what does JVT call the Chick-fil-A?
I don't even know. What is it
called?
called?
He calls it the homophobic chicken sandwich, something like that. But yeah, they kind of do wear that brand.
I mean, frankly, we shouldn't do it here. We certainly shouldn't be doing it on the radio show because you never know when they actually may spend money on sports radio. That would help. So, Chick-fil-A's I will sell my soul. They can help me keep a job.
Yeah, and you know what I will say about Chick-fil-A positive, if we're going to do that, is they have really good milkshakes that you can't get at Popeyes. That hasn't, just put a bow on this dessert segment, but I do love a good milkshake.
Before the bow goes on, what are brookies? Anyone know?
It's a brownie cookie crossover, but it's not really. I see it popping off in the chat, but no one has that. Right? That's some attempt. That's some attempt to meet in the middle here, and it's the future the liberals want.
It's a cookie. If it's the goddamn liberals, libtards with their brookies. The
it's
majority
a cookie or a brownie. Okay,
I'm with. We agree on that.
Yeah, the majority of the word is ookies, so it's more cookie than brownie. So, do we want to get the angst? Do we want to get the anger? Do we want to get the heat? It's kind of my department, but We can do it. Oh, one more. Howard chimes in. Freed's makes the best black and white cookie west of the Mississippi. Are we fans of black and white cookies?
Yeah, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, Alex, I was just gonna say I just went the deli by my house off of Sunset. I went there and got some roast beef, some turkey, and got a black and white cookie and the chocolate chip cookie. Chocolate chip cookies, though, were a little bit old, and to Alex's point, still delicious.
Wait, Ryan, are you in? Where are you at?
I'm in Henderson. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, you said off Sunset. I thought you were like up in LA. I was like, oh, what up?
No. I wish.
The real Sunset in Henderson.
Yeah. That's the one people are actually talking about.
Yes,
is in Henderson.
World-renowned
Sunset
Strip. No.
I love black and white cookies.
Yeah. Yes, Aaron. It was Weiss.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with JVT. Crownies doesn't sound as good as Brookies.
They both suck.
What about a Pizookie? You guys ever have a Pizookie?
I have had a Pizookie, yes. They're very good. Every dessert, my friend.
That was a pizza. Wasn't that a Pizza Hut creation? Like when they had to like meld an amalgamation, or
I believe it was a BJ's. It was a BJ's pizza. Was what I first had the Pizookie. Then I think maybe the Hut may have ripped it off, but I think it was a BJ's original.
Okay.
If you're familiar with the BJ brand.
Well, yeah. I am a vampire.
I don't know that I agree with this. The brownie has a higher ceiling, but the cookie has a higher floor in fantasy terms. I tell you, the other thing I'm disturbed by is when I never addressed the whole Ari point today that brownies are perfect for ice cream. Like I do like a good brownie sundae with ice cream, but no one can beat a Chipwich. My freezer here, I basically have a Chipwich every night. I mean, go figure with my figure, right? But every night I close it out. I'm like, I got to go get my Chipwich. Now they're not official Chipwich. They're very small, cheap ones because I'm trying to keep it under control. They're from Smith's. They're small, but they're delicious. They're great. But I agree. You can fuck up brownies pretty bad. If you want to cook them, if they're they're crunchy on the outside and not gooey, not a positive gooey, as Left Coast Mike is saying. If they've got a soft middle, just absolutely stinks.
Well, that's the thing. You can really mess up a brownie, and it's like I don't bake at all. We've talked about it. I can't do like flour. Alex, I don't know about you, like mixing like baking soda. I've just never been able to bake. Brownies are the closest thing. Yeah, brownies are the closest thing to baking that I can possibly do, and even then I don't do it well. But man, you're right though. When you get one that's gooey or you get one that hits right, I don't know, a good brownie, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, like brownies can be transcendent, but I just think overall, if we saw the chat popping off here, and as we start to discuss, we bring up the black and white cookie, and there's just like as Martin said here, there's this deep bench of cookies.
Yeah, it's true.
We could just talk variety all day long, and then you get that one cookie that's like, damn, that was special. But let's go back to talking about all these cookies. M&M cookie, underrated cookie.
Oh shit!
Is like an oatmeal cream pie a cookie? Because if we can throw in like a little Debbie oatmeal cream pie on Team Cookie, it's over. Like if we're going that deep on the bench, then it's cookie.
I mean, I think this is another show. John just sent this in. Oh boy! Weed brownies over weed cookies.
That always depends on who does the butter and how it's. And how it's extracted, and it's really about taste at that point, right?
Alex, watch what happens here. Watch what happens here with Big Mac and cooking with cannabis. Here we go.
It's really all about the butter, you idiot.
I know.
Well, no, it is, because if you get someone who burns the butter or someone who doesn't, it gets lazy with the extraction, you're going to get either weed brownies or weed cookies that just taste like shitty weed, and it's going to be not fun to eat. Then you get a pro to really do it. Like we have here in California and Nevada, and people that actually know what they're doing, you're not going to know the difference, and it's going to be an enjoyable experience.
Artisans.
Yeah, exactly. Professionals.
And I'll say this, actually.
20 years ago.
I'll say this about the weed brownie. I think in society, the weed brownie has much more of a place in the cultural zeitgeist.
Oh, yeah.
The weed brownie, it's like the weed cookie is kind of a new thing, but the weed brownie is generation, multi-generational and timeless. So in that case, yeah, the weed brownie is greater than the weed cookie.
I wonder how many people like me, like the first time they had weed brownies was when you just ground it up, or you like broke it up and you just baked it in the actual batter, and you were just eating sticks and stems in your mouth, like not even putting it in the butter, just eating mouths full of weed. Oh man.
This is how you get high. This is how you get high.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, why would this happen? JVT says weed brownies helped me clean the F out of my house once. My wife went to the mall instead. Is it paranoia? Is it like hyper focus? What is it?
That's that sativa indica, right? JVT got a good sativa that day. He was very energized, very focused, and he decided to go into cleaning mode. If that would have been a strong indica with maybe a bunch of myrcene, dude would have been ass out. Yeah, see, Ari knows. Exactly, Ari.
A little expertise from Ari we didn't expect.
Yeah, right? Junkie.
How much of that $700 that we got or we gave for getting the mask smoking guy did he spend on his weed supply? His weed brownie supply.
To work with you 5 days a week? Probably all of it, man. Just keep an eye on those specials here in Vegas.
I've been very chill. I've been very chill, very calm lately. Very calm.
Allegedly.
Not really. All right, so let's get to a little sports here, just a little bit. We've all chimed in on the special effects, I'll call them, because whatever, the additions to baseball with the cardboard fans, the just superimposed fans that Fox did over the weekend, and the crowd noise. McKinnell, where are you?
I actually thought it was weird. My mom hit me up, and she was talking about how much she liked the virtual fans and the piped in crowd noise. She's like, I don't even notice it anymore. It really brings a sense of normalcy. And I was like, well, that's weird because I'm, half your age and I can't stand it. I don't know. I feel like I'm being lied to, and maybe it's my paranoia about the upcoming robot apocalypse and VR and AI. I don't know. Like, I like my video games and my technology separate from my live sporting experience. If you want to get goofy, I'm all for the cardboard cutouts, the trash cans in the background. Have fun with it. I think I tweeted out, have John Candy sit in the front row at Wrigley and eating, popcorn. I don't care. The virtual aspect of it and like trying to trick our minds into watching something like we're not watching. It's just weird. Like I want to experience what the players are experiencing. I want to hear what the players are hearing. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird. Hopefully it's only a once in a lifetime thing. And let's just treat it like that. That's been my whole thing. I don't know, Alex. It's obviously we're only a weekend into it, but
Big Mac. My mom actually said the same thing. She was like, "It's so great to have baseball back on, hearing the crowd and just in the background. I love it." So it's something. Wow. There is something about the moms liking the aura of the baseball. But I disagree with you, Ryan. I like the cardboard cutouts. I like the crowd noise being pumped in because the players are hearing that crowd noise too. Like that's playing in the stadium. That is from what I've heard, right?
Yeah, I think you're correct.
Yeah, so that's I like that. I agree with you on this. And I do share a distrust of AI and the robot apocalypse. I don't like the superimposed fans. It's like the Tupac hologram at Coachella.
Yeah.
8 years ago. It's like,
yes.
It's like, it's weird. It's weird. And if the players aren't seeing it, I don't want to see it. And like you said with John Candy, I want to see a John Candy cutout. I want to see the netting taken down so that when there are foul tips straight back, some dude's losing his head. Some baby head is getting smashed in. Like, I think that'd be fun. I think they could up it a little bit. I didn't like the fake wave. I don't like the superimposed fans. I do like the crowd noise because, to go a little inside baseball here, we're all radio or sports media guys. I like thinking about the sound engineer in the booth with his like gigantic multi-screen hotkeys page that he's prepped. Like that gets me fired up to think about him picking those sounds. He's doing a damn good job. So I like that. Don't like the robot fans or whatever you call them.
Yeah, well, it's very dystopian, right? Like it just has a weird 1984 sort of feel that I'm just not comfortable with. What is a fake wave? Yes, that is worse than a real wave. I don't know. It just here's the other thing is you say the players are hearing it too. They are for now. But I can't imagine that they're enjoying looking at an empty stadium hearing fake crowd noise. Now, again, we're only a few days into it, but I think it's going to be a learning process for everybody, and people are going to have to figure out what works and what doesn't. And I do find it interesting that at least in this very large sample size of you and I, Alex, the older generation is completely on board. I guess the positive is at least both our moms watch baseball. That's pretty cool.
Well, I don't even think my mom was watching. She just said, I enjoy having it on in the background, which is, I think, how she consumes baseball. And also,
that's what baseball is now.
Yeah. Well, talking about the older generation, the station manager at the local station I work out here is pretty old. And he texted me on Sunday and he said, with the wind blowing and the cardboard cutouts moving, for a moment, I thought they were alive. And I was like, that, and I think that sums up. It's like, yeah, everyone that's like 50 or 60 plus is like, oh, I love it. It's nostalgic. And we're like, no, it's going to be robots soon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We see it as a glimpse into our future. And yeah, absolutely. A little bit more in tune with what might be coming down the pipeline.
Where are we? Baseball on the field. Where are we on beanball? I don't know. I don't remember talking to Ryan about this in the past, and obviously I haven't talked to or spoken to Alex about it. Alex, do you like beanball? Or I remember hearing, you don't know who this guy is, but one of our local hosts years ago who ran the Lotus Broadcasting Stations, a guy, John Hansen, who is not as competitive, we'll say, as I am. I remember him going on a rant and he actually did a show with Koken for a long time. Went on a rant about just how stupid and immature and unnecessary, and it had no place in baseball. Beanball is terrible. I've hated him ever since.
I like it in the context of what's happening with the Dodgers and Astros and throwing some inside heat there. I mean, the Astros not participated in, but led and created one of the biggest cheating scandals in sports history. And COVID has taken some of the heat off them. So now they trot back on the field and they're facing a team that they took away. You could think of it like this, took away a World Series from. So I like seeing them get theirs. I don't love it when dudes from foreign countries that are a little flashier than our, America play baseball the right way and they do the bat flip and then they get beamed. I don't like that. But when players have it coming, like the Astros, I'm cool with it. It's good for the sport. It's like making us talk about it more and people tune in,
McKinnell?
Yeah, I think it's an example or a highlighting of, in particular, baseball, but it happens in other sports, but checks and balances, right? I think it applies a little bit more to the National League historically. Obviously, this year, National League, you're having a universal DH. But, I remember Pedro Martinez, and I remember other guys that took liberties, and Pedro specifically, and he didn't have to face the consequences. And he went at people's heads, not regularly, but he was a headhunter. You know what I mean? You need the ability, and you need that piss and vinegar in baseball. You need that venom to self-police the game, because at the end of the day, you have 100-mile-an-hour fastballs that can be pinpoint on your face, on your shoulder, on your elbow, wherever they want it to go. It's a dangerous sport in that regard. And if you don't check it, there are liberties that are going to be taken. And there's only so much coaches can do. The players on some level have to enforce it. In the American League, I don't love it as much, but in the case of the Astros, it's to be expected. There's a lot of ill will there. It's as you said, Alex, what they cost. I mean, you could take it at an even more personal level. And if you're a pitcher, or even if you're a player, position player, it could cost you real money. If that was a contract year for you, or whatever the case may be, you could take that extremely personally. So I definitely enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it tonight because we got some gold in terms of video and audio.
So I'll just say quickly, because you'll find out as I break this down, I love it. I've always loved it. I would do it. I'm a small guy, but if I were a Major League Baseball player and I'm like 6'5", 250, I would hit guys and I would walk right to the plate and be like, what? What's the problem? Or I'd just follow them up the baseline. Let's go. I wouldn't do it arbitrarily, but if there's a purpose to it, and there'd be a purpose, like most of the time, yeah, let's go. And I understand the ramifications. You may come out and put your fist through my skull. So here's Joe Kelly. This is Bregman. I will throw in the small qualifier. When you throw 98, man, like, I'm a dirty player. I'm not talented. I'm a sore loser. I can lose my cool. These are some nasty pitches. I mean, you're looking at freaking 95 plus. I mean, these are so fucking fast. Like, the reaction of the hitters, my God.
sails over the head of Alex Bregman.
There might have been a little intent behind that one, gauging on how far that pitch missed. And in a 3-0.
So these are the Astros announcers, and I think they were told well before the season, don't react every time this happens because it's going to happen a lot. Mm-hmm. At some point, one of them is going to snap, right, and say, hey, this is total bullshit. I want to see what Joe Kelly does on this one because Bregman's all calm. By the way, Bregman is a small guy. Somehow hits a lot of home runs. Go figure. But he's going to have to deal with it all year. And he's going to be, Alex, go ahead. He's going to be dealing with, pitchers are gigantic human beings sometimes. So what's he going to do?
No, all I was going to say is you said, how does he hit all those home runs? Yeah, he must know something.
Yeah. Very learned.
It's
all right, so right now I just want to watch it. So Kelly's not doing anything. Bregman just goes up, and I know a lot of people pointed out that Kelly started things very nicely after he whipped it by his back, that he just yawns. Like he almost murdered the guy, and he's like, whatever. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, I got nothing. I'm just enjoying the pettiness. I was at the I don't know if we talked about it. I don't think we have. I was at the Michael Barrett, AJ Pierzynski brawl between the Sox and the Cubs in whatever it was, 06, 07. All I ever wanted to do growing up was to see a baseball fight. Now, it didn't exactly involve getting pegged, but you think about Robin Ventura, Nolan Ryan. I'm surely that had to be a favorite of yours, Steve, the old guy getting it in. And
that's great. Well, because here's the thing. If you're going to walk to the mound as a hitter, you better be prepared. You think you're going to intimidate someone. Maybe you're holding a bat, but if you're going to walk to the mound, one of my favorite ones ever, and I don't know if you just mentioned it, but that's a great one. Robin Ventura kind of walked out slowly, and Nolan Ryan's like, yeah, fuck you, man, get out of here, and then gets him in a headlock, and he's just like, boom, 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 boom. One of my favorite ones ever was Kyle Farnsworth, who's a psycho, and he's a gigantic guy, and Paul Wilson, who started out with the Mets and wound up with the Reds, and Paul Wilson's about as big, but Paul Wilson was hitting, Kyle Farnsworth was pitching, and Farnsworth hits him or whatever, dusted him inside, and Paul Wilson kind of takes 3 steps out, and Farnsworth's like, what are you doing? And the closer Wilson got, Farnsworth went Goldberg on him and fucking speared him. Took him down. It was like, let's go. So, there's so many unwritten rules on this, and man, you better make the right move. Otherwise, you're in big trouble. And you remember one of the most vocal guys, and I sort of defended him at the time. I really thought it was incredibly pussified that most of the Astros wouldn't say anything. And they're like, go ahead, Carlos Correa, who, English is his second or third language. You go and speak on our behalf. I'm like, where are the other guys? But Correa kept talking and talking and talking. And you remember, Correa told, I think, I'll probably get the quote wrong, but I thought he said to Bellinger, basically, shut the fuck up, complaining about us. So, as Joe Kelly's out there and throws 98 miles an hour with no control, I'm sure Kelly was thinking of it. I'll punch this up here. This one was worse. The one to Bregman, I don't even know how Bregman saw it. I don't know how he didn't take it square off the freaking clavicle. I guess Kelly was like, well, I didn't hit him and it wasn't high enough, so let's do this for real now.
That's just what he...
Ooh, that's a strikeout at the end of it, but he did throw over Correa's head. But watch what, after the strikeout, by the way, on a off-speed pitch outside that Correa has no chance on.
And he got a swing and a miss from Correa to get out of the inning. Joe Kelly his way off after an interesting inning.
Now, keep in mind how awesome this is. There's a little bit of sound in the background. Everyone can hear each other.
The report that I saw Dusty Baker said that Joe Kelly told Correa, nice swing, bitch, following the strikeout.
Yeah.
That's the report I saw on Twitter. Well, it was, as Steve said, a breaking ball outside. I'm surprised that the Astros, being at home, didn't see that coming. That's kind of what the bread and butter was during the whole scandal, right? Was off-speed pitches coming, heat coming, yada, yada, yada. As far as Joe Kelly, I'm really good usually at reading lips. I couldn't make out exactly what he said at the end. I got the shut the fuck up at the end, and it was well delivered. It was just like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, shut the fuck up. Really well done, really well executed, but I would love to know what was said in between that, because it sounded like like I feel like I caught like a shit in there, like eat shit or something. I don't know, but it was clearly very spirited. And you know what? The Astros need to be thanking their lucky stars for COVID-19 because the way spring training was starting, those fans were locked and loaded with no fucks given. People were just hanging out at the dugout and talking crazy shit to the Astros, and they were talking back, and the fans were winning every single time. They're like, Astros would be like, "We're still paying," or "You're still paying." Like, yeah, we're paying to laugh at you, you dummy. Look at you're on video. I mean, they were ethering them on a daily basis. I can't imagine what that would have been like, a full season of that, going from city to city, you know, and dealing with the fans. So they actually lucked out by having this only be what it is.
Absolutely. And I think just to bring it back to something you said earlier, Cofield, but I do like the beanball. I think it has a place, but I also, so you brought up a beanball hater, a guy that said there's no place in baseball for this or that. And I don't like that person. I don't like you're ruining the sport, or there's no room for this in the game, and I'm a purist and this and this. And so therefore I don't like beanball when they're trying to bean guys for being too showy and for the bat flip and for trotting around. Because I like that. I like the showmanship is good. The flashiness is good. The swag is good. And if you're the pitcher on the mound who just got, a grand slam hit off him, and then you're going to bean someone because he did a bat flip and talk shit, that's not cool. But the Astros, oh yeah, like you said, Big Mac, they deserve this.
Yeah. Yeah, and all you got to do is just get rid of Madison Bumgarner and others like him, and you won't have maybe so much sensitivity. And listen, here's the other thing. You're never going to get rid of it. There's nothing you can do. As long as pitchers and hitters exist and pitches go 98 miles an hour, there are going to be liberties taken, and there will be people seeking retribution. Because
it's a battle. It's a battle every day because hitters want to get all over the plate. I mean, David Ortiz should have been hit in the shoulder 700 times in his career. Barry Bonds, I would have attempted all I could to break the pad, that stupid elbow pad on Barry Bonds. I would have thrown it at his elbow every time he came up. And all right, dude, we know you're all pumped up full of something. Let's see if you have some stamina. Now, again, this is Cofield speaking as 6'5", 260 pitcher. So I have a little more,
Farnsworth Cofield.
Yeah, it's a battle all the time. Hitters are going to crowd the plate because you want to get the outside. And if you couldn't police it the other way, right? If no one ever charged the mound, right? And it does suck that the NL is going to get rid of the DH. There's other ways to get some payback. But if pitchers could, like you brought up 15 minutes ago, Big Mac, Pedro Martinez is the perfect example. The guy was 5'11" at 175 pounds, and rarely did anyone go out and get him. Gerald Williams did once, but beyond that, the Yankees were complete pussies because Mike Mussina wouldn't back anyone and throw at anyone. So the Yankees had this era where they wouldn't go charge the mound. Even if the Yankees don't win now, I kind of like their roster. Well, I liked it last year when CeCe Sabathia was on it, when they had there were 5 guys who were 6'6" and 250 plus. Aaron Judge is all right, let's go. Stanton comes out, gets hurt walking out, but it's all right, we have a whole offensive line, so let's fight. But it's part of the game because if pitchers could get away with it, they would throw inside all the friggin' time, and then you would never get the outside part of the plate. And you saw what happened, right? Joe Kelly whips 198 miles an hour on Carlos Correa. That kid's awesome. And then, he's standing up there and he's like, and then whiffs on this outside pitch. So it's part of the game. And frankly, again, I was never a high-level competitor in baseball. But if you watch baseball and you're like, it shouldn't be part of the game, it's immature, childish, then you probably didn't play or you were terrible.
They just no fun. You're clearly no fun.
And the same thing, as we talk about, self-policing and checks and balances, we have seemingly the start of every hockey season this conversation around fighting.
Yep.
In hockey, and it's the same thing. You're going to have it. You're never going to get rid of it.
So what will baseball do to Kelly? Because this is the other fascinating thing. Everyone wants to hit the Astros. Every team is going to want to send a message for that nonsense last year. And I saw Gil the Thrill and Tom Crusader going at it a little bit on the chat. Gil the Thrill said it's kind of a bitch move to throw at someone when you don't have to bat yourself. But here's the thing. There's no reason that Carlos Correa, and he's a big dude, go get him. What are they going to do, suspend you for a couple of games? Joe Kelly weighs 200 pounds. Go get him. No one was stopping you. Right?
Yeah,
go bust him in the mouth.
Yeah. then you have to look about the way it looks like for everything else, right? And the way the responsibility that you have as a Major League Baseball player, right? Like that. Then you get into the gray area of how did it start? It started as retribution for a cheating scandal, right? You're trying to get one over. It wasn't that the opposing pitcher tried to do physical harm on you. I don't know. I get what you're saying. And if I'm Bregman, I'm keeping that one in my back pocket because if I get one thrown in my head again, I'm charging the man for that. But I don't know. It's situational. And the Astros are going to have to show a lot of patience because, as we talked about, we got a lot more coming their way.
Adam chimes in with no fighting with the COVID rules. I get it. It's a 60-game season, and 8 teams make the playoffs in the AL. If the Astros can't be within 8, the top 8 spots because, Carlos Correa got suspended for 5 games, then shame on them. They did at some point. They're going to have to defend themselves.
Well, I think he's saying they have to socially distance. They can't fight. They can't cross-contaminate.
Well, I mean, not to be a smart ass, and I'm going to be, but I don't know who decides on COVID rules. We joked about it today on the air. Isn't it Miguel Rojas? Isn't he the end all be all? Because he's the guy. I mean, how ridiculous was the Marlins story that they had a positive test at the beginning of the series, and they're like, let's turn to our team leader. Don Mattingly's like, yeah, all these issues. Rojas kind of rounds up the guys, and they make a decision. So one of their own players is like, hey, let's go. Let's keep playing. And then baseball had no part of it. No part of it. It's just totally ridiculous.
That Marlins story. I mean, the whole thing of it is an indictment on all of Major League Baseball. Like I did my satellite show tonight talking mixed martial arts, and one of the conversations that we had between myself and Misha Tate was how good the UFC looks with their testing protocol and the way that they really set the bar for trying to do this in the pandemic era. And when you're Major League Baseball and you have something happen like this and you make the UFC and Dana White, a famous kind of he's not a hoaxer necessarily, but he infamously said, I don't give a shit about coronavirus. When you make them look good, that's a bad week for you. And yeah, the Rojas stuff and the disjointed communication and the lack of planning. I just don't know how you can be worth billions of dollars and get to this point and fail so miserably and not have a plan. It's just what?
It's an interesting indictment of baseball that they don't have a bubble, in the sense that I think a topic that's come up around a lot of these other leagues, basketball, MLS, is, hey, these guys are young. They've got groupies. They've got side chicks. They're going to get out and have sex. Like, we have to make a bubble. We can't have them. They're not going to. And there's somehow everybody just assumed like baseball players don't have groupies. Like, they're not having sex. Like, they're not going to. Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, I'm just like, people are just like, oh, but yeah, like, I just don't. It's like an indictment of like what baseball's not cool, like MLS or NBA. Like, they're not as sexy of players. Like, chicks don't want to sleep with them. I don't get that. They're like, no, it's just an honor roll thing, or sorry, not honor roll, honor system thing. You go home after the game. You're not supposed to do anything. You got to stick to the rules. But it's like, oh, what? You just think that these young guys, for some reason, don't have jersey chasers waiting around, and the NBA and MLS do? It's like an indictment of just. It's almost just saying, oh, baseball's not as cool as these other sports. The dudes aren't as sexy. They're not getting laid as often. I can't believe that though. I know that they've talked about that conversation was had with the NBA and with MLS. And for some reason, it's like they had it with baseball, but then we're like, nah, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, they don't make $20 million a year. No one's interested in their pocketbook or anything that they're doing.
I've seen a lot. Yeah. Keep going.
No, I just don't get it. I just don't get like how. I want to know actually what the outcome of that conversation was, because they had to have it. Oh, and NHL had it. NHL's like, yeah, sure. We got a bubble. Everyone's got a bubble. I think the biggest risk too for college football, if they don't bubble, is those dudes. They're like 18. You know what I mean? And if there's college girls on campus, like, they're screwed. They're not gonna do the honor system.
Well, That's the real kicker here. As we're paying attention and as we're seeing what works and what doesn't work, UFC has a little bit of a mixed bubble. It's a fight week bubble, right? Or like a little bit before. They're doing a fairly good job. The NBA, strict bubble. The NHL, seemingly strict bubble. But then you see something like Major League Baseball, or you see something, I don't know, PGA Tour is a great example, but they're not doing a great job. But they're also not a team sport. They can stay separate a little bit more easily. But you look at how poorly Major League, it's not even that they're handling it poorly, just the concept of traveling and using planes and going to different stadiums is just absolutely absurd. So to the NFL, to college football, if you're actually thinking you're going to have a season, the only way you can do it is with a bubble. There is absolutely no possibility, especially in the team aspect of what we're talking about with like the NFL or college football. You can forget about it. Absolutely impossible to do without a bubble. And even if you do a bubble, it might be absolutely impossible to do.
So on to something else with baseball, and I'll admit maybe I've been a bit ignorant the last couple of days on following this, but I feel like the hashtag boycott baseball fell victim to America's short attention span issue, which is basically there's a 2-day news cycle and then people just forget. And frankly, you know what? President Trump did tweet about this in the middle of last week, but he needed to send out another one to bring down the pain on baseball on Monday or this morning. But have you guys seen a lot on hashtag boycott MLB the last 2 days after it blew up on Saturday and Sunday? Because I haven't.
No, right? I don't. I mean, the news cycle moves so fast. I've like, it's not right in front of me, and so I can't see where it is, and I don't know if people are doing it.
I remember we were boycotting Keurig, and people were chucking their Keurig machines out the second story of the apartment window. You know what I mean? Like it's all noise, all of it, especially this guy.
So this was Aubrey Huff last week. He talks to players, and I'm sure there are players who are like, this is bullshit. I don't want to have pressure to kneel, which they shouldn't have pressure. That's okay. If you don't want to kneel, don't kneel. But here was Aubrey Huff, and he's an outspoken guy.
America's pastime has officially gone woke, led by none other than the social justice warrior champion San Francisco Giants. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen that several of their players, including their manager Gabe Kapler, knelt for the national anthem yesterday in Oakland, California. You know, Gabe, if you cared as much about wins as you did about social justice warriors points, you'd be a hell of a lot better manager.
Okay. I guess he's not talking about his Giant stint since it just started, but good cheap shot. But here comes here's his money shot.
I'm sick of this shit. You know, I just got off the phone with the current player, and he told me that Major League Baseball is giving every player the option of wearing a Black Lives Matter patch on their jersey for the remainder of the season. He obviously doesn't want to wear one. He just wants to play baseball. He's not a politician. He's not a social justice warrior. Shame on you, Major League Baseball, for putting players in this position, because if they choose not to wear it, they're going to be automatically deemed a racist, even though the Black Lives Matter organization is a terrorist organization.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what Guy Aubrey Huff is. Like, you know what? He's a caricature of a person in America, and they exist. And it's just, that guy is so real. We know that guy, you know?
And he says that, you know, my buddy's not political. He doesn't feel this way. He's not a social justice warrior. No shit, Aubrey Huff. He's talking to you on the telephone. and a quick Google search will show you a myriad of racist, homophobic, ridiculous shit that this dude has tweeted. And it's not even hyperbole. It's just absolutely clown stuff. And Aubrey Huff, you know, he's finding a nice little niche for himself. It seems people that speak to these folks out there that don't believe in science and don't believe in progress or basic human decency or compassion or understanding that Black Lives Matter isn't a terrorist organization and neither is Antifa. They're out there. They've found their niche, but I don't think it's going to last. They're going to have to deal with the consequences 5, 6, 7 years down the road. It's a legacy, and it works for right now. And Aubrey Huff is drumming up some controversy, but I think he knows what he's doing. He's trying to drum up controversy, and controversy pays.
Yeah, I just scrolled his Twitter because I was looking. I remember he had one tweet in particular earlier this year. Oh, I think it was about COVID-19 being a distract, or being because the scientists knew that there was a asteroid that was going to hit Earth. Do you guys remember this? Aubrey Huff tweeting this earlier this year at the start of the pandemic. He said that there was, and he linked some article, which people, there's always a link to some article somewhere. It's like, well, no, it's a news story. He linked some article and it said that because the government, the powers that be, whether the reptilians or whatever it is, the powers that be, Illuminati, knew that the Earth was going to be in an Armageddon scenario soon because the asteroid coming. They wanted to force people to spend more time with their family during the final days, and so they created this pandemic to force everyone inside, and it was only a matter of time. And he tweeted that. So if he's putting out that kind of stuff, for me, that then invalidates all the other stuff, which, as you said, Big Mac, is pretty sexist, racist, homophobic, bigoted. But yeah, that was what I was looking for. I couldn't scroll that far back, but the asteroid, we're quarantining because the government wants us to spend more time with our families before we all die, which I don't even understand the law. I guess now the government's good. Now the government's good. Now they're good. They want us to be with our families.
No, there's no logic. It's just that Pizzagate, QAnon,
yes.
Listen, yeah, I mean, listen, I've dabbled in the conspiracy world, right? I'm down for a good conspiracy. I like to laugh and I like to have fun, but there's nothing funny or nothing humorous about an entire globe shutting down and dealing with a mass pandemic. Aubrey Huff's an idiot. You know what I mean? There's nothing more you can possibly say. I think the good news is the internet isn't real life, and he can't bring that to a random dinner table or a random restaurant and have that conversation and talk loudly. Like, there is still public shame. There's still consequences for acting like an idiot. Not so much on social media. In fact, it might get you a little bit of attention, but it's no way to build a legacy. And most smart people understand what, Aubrey Huff's doing.
What is up with these old dudes going insane, as Tom Crusader says in the chat? Like, can we blame the internet? What is up with these old people going insane and just believing? I'm hearing more. It's not just old people. Because I know we'll get to it in a bit. I was some girl that I've been talking to. I saw her post some QAnon shit on her Instagram story today, and I was like, oh, great. So it's not just old people, but it just does seem like every day I'm interacting with another person, and they're just saying crazy shit to me. Like, what is it? Because we're spending too much time on the internet and scrolling, and there's just all this misinformation. Has it always been this way, and now we're just more aware? What is going on?
I think it's a perfect storm, because a lot of the centers around QAnon right now is obviously child sex trafficking and underage, a lot of that stuff. And that centers around Jeff Epstein. That crosses all political boundaries. Like, we know that's legit, right? So they weave their crazier narratives into actual narratives in Hollywood and yada, yada, yada. And then you have an issue of how cheap and accessible the internet is. And having a 20-year or so generation of people growing up on it, things are going to slip through the cracks, even more so in a pandemic. And you're right, you can feel it now more over the last couple years. But specifically, I've been seeing relatively smart people over these last 6 months start posting this stuff pretty regularly. And back to your point about your new lady friend.
Well, she's not. I mean, she's not fully lady friend. She's not fully lady friend. All right.
That's a good precursor and a good signal to hit the hills and get running, because there's no good that can come from that. That goes into a whole deep, dark rabbit hole of just not good stuff.
This might be an indictment of myself, but one girl I'm single right now, and I'm not hanging out with anyone because of COVID, but I'm putting the feelers out there. One girl I was talking to, I saw post a QAnon link on her Instagram story today. Another girl a couple days ago followed me on Twitter that I was talking to, and I scrolled, and one of her most recent tweets was, Tom Hanks is a pedo, wake up, sheeple. And I was like, oh my God, like, so that might be an indictment of me, that I'm attracting these types, but I hated it. I'm like, oh, this girl's hot. She seems cool. She seems pretty with it. We're talking politics. And now she's QAnon. So I don't know what to do.
Yes, you do.
Well, when we talked about this the other day, Alex, the options are limited. You're gonna have to lower the bar in some areas. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Well, you know what? QAnon's such a widespread conspiracy. As I put that in, DM'd that to you today, Cofield, to put in the rundown, said, some girl I've been talking to posted that on her IG. I was like, oh shit, one of these Cofield or McKinnell might be QAnon. They might be into it. So I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to offend any clinically insane people.
Yeah.
As they steer our country off a fucking cliff. Let's do that. Yeah, no, I'm all for publicly shaming. I'm all for facts and direct conversation and telling people to their face that they're idiots. I think that's the only way we get past this. Like biting your tongue and remaining patient and trying, quote unquote, civilized. I'm not the one talking about Tom Hanks raping kids. Like we passed civilized in like thoughtful rhetoric and dialogue long ago. We've now cut to the point where I just think you're stupid and I'm going to tell you because without being too hyperbolic, the future of our country depends on it.
No, you're right, Big Mac. I saw something like around a dozen people that are confirmed QAnon believers are running for elected positions either at the federal level or at least at higher state levels in this November. People that are on the record as saying they believe in it, that are like viable candidates, not one-off weird candidates. There's like, I think around a dozen viable candidates that are pro QAnon. So to your point, yeah, I shouldn't be like, oh, what if Cofield's into this conspiracy? I don't want to offend him. I hope he still invites me on the late night happy hour. It's like, no, if someone's crazy, you got to call him out. Now the chick is hot. She is attractive, and so that doesn't mean I can't meet up, and maybe try to talk some sense into her.
I can say here, it's it's not you, it's me. No. Good luck with that. Please keep us posted on how it goes. This could be great for the late night happy hour.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, this should be something you explore. I'm sorry that I put a stop in that a little too soon. You just asked what is QAnon?
Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. First of all, is the chick hot? You know what she looks like? Because Jay Lawrence is very interested in this. He also says, look past it, hit it, quit it. Come on.
It's reasonable advice.
It is.
No, she's hot. Yeah. She's hot.
Okay.
I'm willing to look past it for now. I was just more like, it's just almost exhausting when you see someone that maybe you're into or the very least trying to hook up with, or even a friend, like a guy friend. And you're just like, oh shit, like you're into this. And now I got to either confront you or avoid you, or even just think about someone you trust. I kind of did a test with my dad the other day. I was like, hey, you hear about this Tom Hanks pedo stuff? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Tom Hanks, you hear about the pedophile stuff? He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, okay, cool. And then I explained to him, like,
you pat him on the back and you exhale in great relief.
He was like, what? Like, seriously, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, it's not real. It's not real. Don't worry.
What is QAnon, Ryan, for people who don't know what it is?
Just a movement, a conspiracy movement. They were behind Pizzagate, and they like a lot of those Seth Rich conspiracies. If you guys remember that, there's it's basically New World Order. Illuminati, George Soros is, owning.
Essentially, there are powers in the government or around the government that are trying to take down the government.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's all tied in with like major child sex trafficking.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And listen, that is unquestionably an issue. I align. There are realities that you can't deny, right? Like we talked about with the Epstein stuff. It's just there's a limit, right? And then you also. It's just you can find anything if you look hard enough for it. So what I choose to look at, and I think it's a pretty decent way, because as QAnon, as he asked, there's a lot of people that are saying it's a global hoax in terms of COVID, right? So a lot of people that are on board with QAnon are a lot of people that are also anti-maskers and people that are saying that the coronavirus was created to control us all. That would take one hell of a plan to shut down the entire globe to control world population. Oh,
speaking of, Michael Porter Jr. doing a video, and someone here says, talk about coronavirus. And here's the young fella who spent a cup of coffee playing college basketball for Missouri. He's now in the Denver Nuggets.
No, that's facts. I think that the coronavirus is being used, obviously, for a bigger agenda. It's being used for population control in just terms of being able to control the masses of people. I mean, because of this virus, the whole world is being controlled. I mean, you're required to wear masks, and who knows what will happen when this vaccine comes out. You might have to have the vaccine in order to travel. Like, that'd be crazy. I've never been vaccinated in my life. I've never had.
What?
Uh-oh.
What?
Or anything like that. So it could get crazy, but it's definitely an agenda behind everything that's going on right now. And all you can do is sit back and watch what's going on. Don't get too emotionally involved. But yeah, I mean, it is a serious thing. It's a real thing. But yeah.
So before you guys rip him to shreds, I actually think McKinnell, and I don't know about Alex, and I'd probably sit down with this guy, and I actually think I would enjoy listening to him. Now, I might not agree with what he's saying, the whole premise. What I'm saying, Ryan, before you give me the bug eyes, is you and I do like talking about, conspiracy theories, and I do hear like, hey, there's a grand power, they and them, and a lot of it's based on economics. So, like while you disagree with him and the vaccination thing is kind of wacky, the fact that I don't want to defend him too hard, but I also don't want to crush him because I do believe there are, there's, I don't know if there's a system, like a rigged system in place, but there are some goofy things that have gone on now and in the past.
Of course there are. Population control is absolutely legitimate. Crowd population is absolutely legitimate. But this woke YouTube, Reddit, 4chan, YouTube degree bullshit is absolutely ridiculous. Look at economics. Look at paper trails. Look at our history of war for profit. You want to know why we're in the situation we're at? It's because people stopped valuing intelligence and just essentially took the approach that Michael Porter does. Well, I don't want to get too involved in this. I got to remain calm. I don't want to do too much fucking reading or anything. Educate myself. He watches a few YouTube videos and he's got it figured out. And then I've seen people responding because I posted about this earlier today on Twitter, Alex. People saying, oh, he's speaking the truth. I'm glad this brave man is, proud enough to stand up and speak his mind. This man has no idea what he's talking about. These issues are actual issues, and they are at play. There's no question. Technology, the iPhone 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, PlayStation 3, 4, 5, 6, cheap internet. Like, yes, there are absolutely forces at play to keep us occupied and to keep us maybe not as interested in books as information as we should be. But this stuff, a quasi-science, pseudo YouTube degree, nonsense, like I kind of alluded to, it's just nauseating.
Yeah, 100%. There are powers that be that are controlling things, but they're happening with like you said, paper trails and money and public policy decisions that were either too distracted or they're too boring and buried in legalese and being done by people because I was at the Newport Beach City Council meeting tonight and they're talking about this stuff about airport expansion. It's like, there's no conspiracies around it. It's just a really boring and dense public policy decision that I'm trying to sift through the legalese on, but I understand that the decisions they're making there's this huge packet of papers and there's going to be expansion and this and that, and there's companies with hundreds of millions of dollars at stake vying for contracts for expanded terminals. And I'm like, okay, there's all this money at stake and there's people and they're lobbying, and I know they're in the pockets of some of these councilmen, but all that stuff, not just the airport has nothing to do with any kind of for the meeting today, but it's that kind of stuff on a bigger scale happening with public policy that we're just too bored because it's boring shit most of the time. That's the kind of stuff that's making determinations about our future. And to your point too, Big Mac, the Occam's razor, the simplest solution is usually the most truthful one. To organize a global conspiracy of a pandemic, or to think that Bill Gates is going to want to put a chip in every single person so he can control them when we're all carrying iPhones, there's always a simpler solution. And when we start thinking about hundreds or thousands of people being involved, knowing this information and it not actually spilling, that's where you lose me.
And also, you talk about controlling population. You can't even get our country to wear a piece of fabric across their face for 3 months. You think they're going to take their guns? You think you're going to do anything? Hell no. This country is crazy, and we're proving that. Right? And this idea that it's a global conspiracy is so ridiculous to me. I'm not saying maybe China and Russia, potentially could have implemented a bioweapon. I have no idea, but I don't care because that's beyond my control. What I know is there are real dangers in this world, and yes, population control, the powers that be, all these things matter. But that's also why I try to remain vocal and try to stress the importance of voting and educating yourself past a YouTube degree, past, watching some Netflix documentaries. It's so much more than that. And I'm not perfect. And my consumption and views of local government is not where it needs to be. I need to know more about the, systems around me and the people that are making decisions in my town and city here in Henderson and even in Las Vegas. I mean, we could all do better, but we have to do better. I mean, if 2015 to 2020 hasn't shown us that we need to do better as everyone, I don't know what will.
Jay Lawrence says I had an argument with a customer today who refused to wear a mask and said, and we know a lot of people who believe that. So a guy that we're an acquaintance with today was saying, the only time it matters in Major League Baseball is with COVID is when someone actually dies. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. But he utters the line, and I see a lot of this, that this is all some grand conspiracy. And come November, it'll all be done. It'll all mysteriously dissipate if the election goes against his wishes. So I guess we'll see.
Didn't Carl Anthony Towns on the Timberwolves, his mom died of COVID?
Yeah. How about Khabib Nurmagomedov's dad?
Can the Nuggets play the Timberwolves? Are they going to match up at all? Are the T-Wolves in the bubble? Like, that would be epic. I want Carl Anthony Towns to dunk on and talk shit to Michael Porter if and whenever they play.
And I saw someone ask if he was a flat earther, and then they were doing the odds. Yes, there is no value at -16 whatsoever. That's a much larger line.
Yeah. It's like a broken record. I'm going to jump ahead. I wanted to ask you guys this one about we've seen some of the Raiders rookies. Let me punch this up real quick. Or should I punch up a picture of a steak? I feel like I should show another one of my steaks.
I mean, I'd like to see the steak if you don't mind.
McKinnell, I got fucking trashed by Justin Watkins last week on Thursday.
Why?
Like, I had some charred seasoning. It's a good way to put it. On like that was on top of the steak. And he was just like, cut it out with all the seasoning. Like, just salt and pepper. I'm like, all right.
He's right.
He is. I'm trying to get the char balance on the steak. Like, I don't know how you make that fucking Pittsburgh steak that you do, where it's like charred the hell, and then the inside is like rare. Like the confidence to look at a steak and go, oh my God, I'm destroying it. The Pittsburgh style. And then, you're like, oh my God, look at inside. It's beautiful. It turned out perfectly.
It's high heat. It's certain oil. You got to make sure you have a high smoke point oil. And once you set it, you don't lift it up. So when you set that in your skillet, leave it for 4 to 5 minutes, check it, then flip it, and then it's all on feel. You should just, But let's see the pick.
The ball's on you. I'm trying to punch it up.
Tell me Pittsburgh style. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that term.
It's okay. So Pittsburgh's real simple. It's just and to Watkins's point, yes, all you need is salt and pepper. You don't need to do any Montreal steak seasoning or anything like that, especially with the great cut of meats from Meat Up Wholesale. But no, it's Pittsburgh style. So Pittsburgh style, charred on the outside, medium rare on the inside.
Yeah.
So you have like a really it's not burnt, it's just charred. So it's got a crunchy, snappy sort of outside with a real soft, delicious, tender inside. There you go, avocado oil.
Do you know what? There wasn't enough char. There wasn't enough char on the steak tonight. You know why? You know what I forgot? Fucking oil. Idiot.
What?
I got too fired up.
What'd you put it in?
I put it in a pan, and then I had butter and some garlic in there and some thyme, and I forgot to put in the goddamn oil. I'm like, this thing is not sizzling the way it normally does, because I've done like 5 of them now. Jesus Christ, how did I forget?
Half and half.
I got
half oil, half butter.
Oh yeah.
This was also, it was like a center cut filet from Meat Up, and the thicker steaks, man, they're tough. They're tough. Now I did buy a meat thermometer, so I was very aggressive jabbing at the steak, and that actually seemed to work. I just don't have confidence in the rare to medium rare especially on a thick steak. So this one has like no color on the outside, but the inside is going to look kind of rare. This is when I first started resting it, so I'll punch it up here. But it was like it really is a good piece of meat. So super pink. Eventually it got to medium rare, but you can see the top Like there's not a whole lot of char on there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of char. You took it off too soon.
By the way, I also, just so you know, I did the same thing where I seared it and then put it in the oven at 400 for like a couple of minutes just to finish off the cooking.
Yeah.
No, I didn't forget to turn on the heat. Yeah, well, Jay Lawrence was saying I forgot to turn on the heat. No, I had it on, and I mean, it was a well cooked steak. The other mistake I made is I actually went out and got some salt that you should use instead of just using regular salt. Everyone on TikTok, they're like, you got to use kosher salt. Well, I didn't realize kosher salt is a little bit stronger than regular salt. It was a little salty. I got a little aggressive with the salt.
I can see it. I can see it gleaming on that top left corner. If you look,
there it is right there.
Literally like sparkling, like Joel Robuchon put diamonds on his fucking steak or something. But no, back to that commenter. Yeah, you just have to. It's high heat, high smoke point, half butter, half oil, and you'll get that char that you want. And then
I nailed the other ones on the outside. Yeah, I'm getting close, but I'm telling you, this was the best. I mean, all the meat from Meat Up Vegas has been really good. This was the best piece of meat. Like, even though I oversalted it, man, it was butter. I went through it. I was like, there's nothing messy in there. It was good. It was good.
I need to get on some of that.
What's funny is it actually, Aaron said, it looking like a pretzel. It actually did have, there were a couple times I'm like, whoa, okay. All right. And Adam Hill in our new Madden ratings game, because we're going to, our Club 99, every day we're going to rate something by Madden numbers. So he's giving he's only giving it a 78.
It looks like it tasted better than it looks. Like I can tell that it tasted good, but it doesn't have that visual appeal. Plus, much like pornography with Instagram and food now, our standards have become so much higher, and we kind of have this illusion of how food should look in all these foodie Instagrams. But I'm sure that still tasted great, Cofield. Big Mac bringing up the Pittsburgh. I didn't know it was called that, but I've been on the Pittsburgh game. I've been on my Pittsburgh grind. Saturday night, did really low heat for a while on a New York strip for about 220 degrees in the oven, and then put it on super high heat on the outdoor propane and got the perfect Pittsburgh style with that thick, crunchy, salty char, and then super rare inside. We did that, and we did some jumbo prawns, did a surf and turf, and it wasn't Meat Up, but I bet if it had been, it would have been even better. I'd really like to try some.
It's Mark, it's getting ugly in the house. It's getting ugly. The salt intake tonight was like, wow. I actually started psyching myself out. I was watching a little bit of TV, and I was watching, of course, Card Sharks, and I was like, man, it's freaking kind of taste that salt still. I'm just pounding the chest a little bit, like, keep going, big fella, keep going. Not choking out.
You'll get there, don't worry.
Shaking out the arms. I'm like, keep the blood flowing. Come on. Cholesterol all clogging up the arteries. Not
so
good.
I'm actually under the impression that salt is good for you if it's iodized. That I went to a nutrition seminar earlier this year, pre-COVID, and this guy was really preaching salt, but you got to look and make sure it's just iodized table salt, because he said the health benefits of the iodine will offset whatever sodium issues as long as you're not overdoing it. And so I've been on that salt game, because the iodine is good for your thyroid, which helps your metabolism and your energy levels. But I do think kosher salt, not iodized. So Cofield, sorry about that. But I think if you're using like Morton's iodized table salt, put it on, baby. You're good.
Yeah, just tablespoons of that shit. Just ladle it on. No, you made a point. Okay, everything in moderation. Here's what we know. And all the time, we come up with these new keto diets, Atkins diets. I'm a fat dude in America. I've been hearing about diets for 30 years. I survived on Snackwells and, you know what I mean, Coke Zero and shit. Like, I'm well-versed in the shitty art of foods. Guys, vegetables, water, and clean proteins. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, maybe some fish, some veggies, some water. That's the best way you can possibly eat. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Look at the Japanese. They are such a healthy people. Why are they such a healthy people? Well, they live on a lot of them live by water, but also their culture with so much fish and so much clean eating. I don't practice it, but I'm just saying I know what I do.
This is actually this is a conspiracy I believe in. I do think Big Salt is worse than Big Pharma.
No,
Big Sugar is worse than all of them.
And I think Big Chicken this whole thing going. We have a new chicken joint moving to town. Popeyes versus Chick-fil-A versus Burger King versus Wendy's. Big Chicken's worse than all of them. Worse. That was.
I'm with you on. I'm not into the Big Chicken or Big Salt. I actually, was it called Big Chicken? I read a book about the chicken factory farming industry. It was terrifying. It might have been called Big Chicken, Cofield, but
I think Shaq's restaurant is called Big Chicken, which is kind of messed up because it's really good. And I don't want to confuse the brand here. Shaq has a fried chicken place here that's delicious.
Oh, yum. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I need to get out to Vegas. Are you guys open out there? Is stuff open or what's the deal?
Not worth it right now.
Okay.
It's weird. It's very weird.
I'll just put it on pause. But I want to go to Shaq's restaurant. I want to go to K Barbecue.
We'll do it right.
Who's that?
A little too close on. This is Tanner Moose from Clemson. Pick of the Raiders. We actually talked about him today on Cofield and Company because we were discussing the fact that he just signed his contract and he had told the collection of Raiders media, led by the one, the only Adam Hill, that he wanted to buy a house in Vegas, but because of all the uncertainty with the season and no contract signed, he's like, I don't think I can get a house. I can't get approved. Now, keep in mind, he wound up getting an $830,000 signing bonus and a $4.5 million contract for the first 4 years. So he had to settle for now on this Chevy truck. I guess it's a high country. What do we think? What do we think as compared to Henry Ruggs and the Corvette?
I'm not a big truck guy. I like to ride my bike a lot, walk a lot, and a lot of those big trucks, especially the raised ones, they're taller than me, man. They're above the eye line. And I think, as we're talking about trending towards making this a better world and a better country, I would like to see an increase in pedestrian friendliness. And I think that big trucks, big salt, big chicken, big truck. I think big trucks are a nuisance. I am into stylish cars. I am into cool cars. If I had money, I would buy cars. I don't criticize people for their cars, but just in terms of a big truck guy and just people that are big, I've never jived with big truck guys really. So that's my 2 cents.
California elitist.
Well,
MAGA douchebag off this show. No, I'm just kidding. I hate.
I knew. I'm the SoCal. Oh, I used to live in Portland. I rode my bike to work.
No, I went to London about 3 years ago, and I spent 2 weeks there. My favorite thing about my time in London, I didn't hear one truck. I didn't have to sit next to a truck. I didn't have to see a truck. And it's not true. I'm being a little harsh on trucks. I don't hate trucks. I hate unused trucks. I hate pulling up next to some guy or whatever the case may be, and they've got a $60,000 truck like that, and the bed doesn't have a mark on it. You have never hauled a couch, let alone, studs or bricks or whatever the reason would be that you would need a truck like that. So I'm all for trucks. You're a working man. You got to have your truck. You like to go fishing on the weekends. You got a boat to pull. I'm from Indiana. I get it. I understand. But use your trucks, people. This has been a PSA.
I'm with that. And I'll say this too. I have driven big truck. I have ridden in a big truck, a nice one. The new ones are so nice. Oh, they're great. They're great. I mean, so are drugs. You know what I mean? So is a lot of salt and sugar. That doesn't mean that we need them everywhere. It's that's a great thing. We need less of them. I'd like to see less of them on the roads. I'd like to see smaller, more pedestrian-friendly streets, less big trucks. I do drive a big-ass station wagon, so maybe I'm compensating too. I don't know.
A big-ass station wagon. It's like an 80 station wagon. Yes, you're compensating. Got that SDE, that small dick energy, man.
Well, I'm always critical of the big trucks, and then I get in my car and I'm like, this car is also pretty big.
Yeah. You're polluting the fuck out of Orange County with your car. You know what? Here's another issue. Because again, I'm not anti-truck. I'm anti some truck drivers. I don't go all snobby, on the you should use your truck. Although I tried to stir that pot today around Adam Hill and Ari, and they had no idea what I was talking about because both of them are work. Why would I ever need a truck? I don't do stuff like that at all. I also mentioned to them, is it a dually? And Adam, by the way, I should correct. Adam should make a correction. Adam exclusively spoke to this rookie Tanner Moose and got that info on the house thing, and then found out about the truck. The truck was up on Instagram, so I'm already finding out that Raiders media is very particular. You better give them credit or they might DM you and say, you know what? I was the one who spoke to him. Like, all right. So we're already dealing with that. The weird competition between beat writers. But yeah, he's got this truck. Adam mentioned that one of the important things that Tanner Muse was into was the cooled seats, the cooling seats, which Dustin DeHart, who's got a lot of money, said I've had cooled seats in the car. They don't work. So like 110's 110. And if you have leather seats, you need you literally, I said it to him, like you need a vent on your ass. Like those good sized vents that'll be underneath seats in cars, blowing to the back seat. Like you'd need a vent like that right on your crack.
Yeah. Well, I've had non-cooled cooled seats, guys. And guess what? Those don't work either. So yes. I'll take my chances with the actual cooled seats of the $60,000 truck.
Yeah. All right.
What's that?
What do you guys do in Vegas? Like, it must get so hot in your car. I can almost not fathom it.
Steve knows what kind of car I drive. I drive a black Mustang with black leather seats.
Oh, God.
My only saving grace is I have 5% tint. And I didn't know how dark 5% tint was until I got 5% tint 10 years ago. And now I drive everywhere with my windows down. There is nothing you can do. Nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do to out. I mean, you don't go out. I treat it like the winter back in the Midwest. You know what I mean? It's just, here's a 3-month window where I'm just not going to be doing a whole lot of shit. And if I do that, yeah, it's just
sear your steak on your car.
Exactly.
That's how you get that Pittsburgh.
Wow. McKinnell just said it. He's got the tint on the windows.
It helps for sure.
Or park in a structure. We don't have a structure at Lotus, and Ari and Adam can attest to this. I park under because we have covers, but then we have a bunch of open spots, or you can park on the street. I park on the street or outside. Actually, I park on the street probably 75% of the time. So, and it's not a virtue signal. It's actually a car preservation move, because every car I've had has been dented or dinged by someone else at work. Every car, every fucking car.
But if you sit it outside, it's just going to wear your paint and your interior down.
It is.
So I'd take the aesthetic damage and fix an $80 dent before I don't know, heat up my car to 140 degrees every single day.
All right, maybe I am trying to send a message that they're pussies and they need to trade out and park on the street every once in a while and burn your ass when you get in like I do.
Yes, that's what people are seeing when they see you parking on the street. That is the
martyr! The Lotus Broadcasting martyr.
That's the message you're sending.
They were like, geez, you know what? I think, Steve, I need to park on the street now. I need to, yeah.
That actually reminds me of something. Oh, go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
No. It wasn't important. Go ahead.
Okay, well, just my the intersection of politics and sports, I guess. A very left-leaning friend of mine just quit our long-time, like 15-year plus fantasy football league because he said he knows for a fact, which is true, a couple people in the league are going to vote for Donald Trump this fall, and he won't be in a league with them. And I said, okay, I wouldn't do that. Like, that's not how I would handle this. But I told him, I called him up because we were getting in like an argument over text. It's good to pick up the phone. And I said, if you're going to quit the league, at least maybe tell those people why you're quitting or have a personal call or text with them. He said, no, I'm just going to leave silently. And I hope that sends the message. And I was like, well, no one's going to know. And then he left the league and everyone was like, why did he leave? And I said, it's because some people are voting for Trump. And no one believed me. They're like, no, that's BS. And it took several days. So the message was like, he's like, no, it'll send a message. I'm just going to leave. He like left our group chat. And then and there was our commissioner's like, yeah, Benny's out for the year. And he was like, no, it'll send him a message on its own. It didn't send. No, everyone just roasted him. And then he was left. So the silent message, if you want to get your point across, Cofield, you need to like let people know that you're parking there and maybe put some flyers up or have some one-on-one convos with your staff.
It's not going to work. We had an old salesperson. I'd park on the street. He actually left a note on my car that I wasn't parked far enough up on the street. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I'm on the street every day. Now I got to leave room for you. Go park somewhere else.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
You're overweight. You need to lose a little bit. So do I. That's part of it too. I'm getting a little extra exercise, right? By the way, now we have a whole COVID path we have to follow in the station. We can't just walk out any given door. So I got to long haul it. I got to go all the way around the building to get out to the car, come back in, do a couple laps. That's it. That's the exercise.
I just can't imagine being
By
at
the
this
way,
point.
by the way, there's a full meltdown right now going on by Ari. We've never talked about this before, but Ari hates so many people at work. Look at this. He goes, sales shouldn't even be there in the first place. Get out and sell. Ari, they're the lifeblood of the station, like actually keeping you employed. So I guess with their nicer cars than yours, they get to park wherever they want, brother.
Yeah, I'm with that, Ari. I back that. I back that.
You should. I don't hate. I motivate.
The motivator.
Good question. Do I wash my hands after touching doors inside the station? 98% of the time, I don't touch the doors. I lift up my shirt. I will expose the bottom of my fat stomach to the receptionist, but I make sure that I'm not getting COVID on my hands on the handles.
You're going to get me too'd for that, bro.
I know. Yeah, here's a good suggestion. This is what one of our old employees, maybe the most selfish person I've ever worked with, Paul Howard, would just totally able-bodied male, would just park right in the handicap spot. Did not give a rat's ass. And you know what? In a way, like I just said, the whole martyr thing, no one cares because they're in La La Land and they're all selfish, so they don't even notice. The real chosen people are the ones who don't care. Those are the ones we should be jealous of. Like, me first. Fuck you. That's like those are the people we should admire. They don't care, McKinnell. Don't make sacrifices for anyone.
I don't know. I guess I'm judgmental, but I also think people give you a window into who they are in rare moments, and things like that are just indicative of I couldn't even fathom. And this isn't a holier than thou thing. I'm not virtue signaling. I have a lot of faults, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I would never in a million years ever think of doing anything like that. And,
can you honestly say, both of you, that you've never, ever, ever, ever parked in a handicap spot?
Not for longer than a minute. Not for longer than like running in.
Yeah. I was just going to say, Alex, no, I have.
You just break the rules because of the time. No. Yeah. The rules are the rules. Don't park in a handicap spot. I don't want to hear about the minute rule.
Different. It's so different than me being at 4:00 in the morning at Smith's when there's two parking cars in the parking lot and they both work there, and I'm running in to grab something, rather than some dude coming up during office hours and just going right into the handicap parking spot like at 3:30 in the afternoon. What? Like I don't think those are the same.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know if Alex fits the culture of the show anymore. I think that's it. He's done. No. That's my little game. I just draw people out. It's getting old. I've done it like 15 times now.
I think when I did take a handicap spot, I was like maybe running a letter into the post office or something, and I like looked and I was like, okay, are there any handicap people in the vicinity? No. I'm going to be so quick that I would see them coming and move the car.
I'll illegal park or stop in the middle of the road before I go to a handicap parking spot.
Yes, handicap, yes.
Yeah, because at least I can play dumb then. Or at least I can feel like I'm dumb. Be like, well, I mean, there's a chance that, like, for a minute, maybe there's a loophole in the rules. When you park in front of a handicap spot, like, what you're doing. It's got the bumper on the front, the little road thing on the front. It's got the sign. It's got the paint. Totally clear as to what you're doing. You're being a dick.
Yeah, I will illegal park all the time, because I think a lot of times parking rules or parking lot rules are super arbitrary. And in fact, I've talked to the mayor of my city about who passes the laws about where we can park in meter times. I never got to vote on that. Why does he get to pick that? Why does the city get to pick that without some citizen input? So I'll illegal park all the time, and I'll still get pissed about tickets. But handicap, that's sacred. That's fucked.
Yeah, I remember when I was back in college, I just had a real habit of, not wanting to pay my tickets, or not, as to what you said, not wanting to follow it wasn't even following the rules. We were spending so much money to go to college and at that university. And now you're hitting me up for a $60 ticket. So I got booted 3 times at Ball State. And the last time, I got booted the final time. I paid that off, but I ran up like a good couple $100 worth of tickets before I left there. So, and they were never paid. So I feel pretty good about that. I at least got some of that money back.
If
Bro.
Go ahead, keep going.
No, just same at Oregon State. I racked up a bunch of parking tickets. Same thing. I'm like, I'm paying to be here. I parked. Oh, I'm sorry. Went over by 15 minutes. Not even a big offense. Where's the parking? I'm contributing to campus life by being here. And then they told me I wasn't going to walk if I didn't pay. Then I didn't pay and I walked. And I don't know actually if that's affecting my credit score or not. I should look into that.
It's still killing you. Could be. Could be.
I like it.
I clearly was patting myself on the back for a clean record when it comes to parking, not in handicap spots. Have I wiped that out with essentially an entire lifetime since they've really become the norm? I don't think I use the non-handicap stall in the men's bathroom like more than 5% of the time. So 95% of the time I go into the biggest stall. So if someone came up in a wheelchair and they're like, what's going on here? This is like a curb bit. But like that is really my life. I'm like, I like this. I want some room. And I'm not even taking a shit. How bad is that? It's just to urinate. So does that actually wipe out all of my good deeds over the years, parking responsibly, that I'm just rumbling into the giant living room size stall?
This is wild because I've never thought about it, but I too.
I go there. I go every time.
Yeah,
I go every time.
Me too.
Is that bad? I didn't know that was bad. I never actually thought of that either, Ryan, as being bad. I'm always like, oh, if that's available, I want the corner office, get me in there.
Yeah.
Spread out. I never thought like, oh shit, some handicap guy could be like pissing his pants. That's fucked up. Wow.
Hanging on the door. What are you doing?
Has it ever happened? Has it ever happened to any of us, being that we like to frequent handicap stalls?
Never happened.
Yeah, me either.
It's gonna happen eventually. There's gonna be a whole run where I get caught like 5 times in a row. Some poor guy is like, "What are you doing? I can't fit in the regular stall. I just pissed myself."
I wonder what the reasoning is. Like 3, relatively, I feel like, decent human beings who try to take the thoughts and consideration of others into account. I mean, by and large, we'll just,
It's all about the wide stance.
I have a
wide bait. I like to get really close to the toilet, so I kind of dip down.
Wait, what? Like,
what?
Yeah, I spread out.
What do you mean dip? Like I just go until my ass hits the toilet. Like what?
No, I'm talking about taking a piss. That's the wide bait. I'm in front.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
You're like almost in a 3-point stance with your hand on the flusher.
Like I actually like to splash myself a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like a repellent.
You do you, man.
Yeah, no judgment.
I mean, no judgment. Yeah, no judgment.
No, I made that up, but I like the wide stance. So.
Well, I mean, Moises Alou used to like to piss on his hands. Wow. You got the similar thing. I get it.
Let's get into one more thing on the parking real quick. The labeling of the other spots. Fuck you. All right. Like I've respected the handicap thing. I've been driving, believe it or not, for what are we looking at here? I mean, it's a long time. I've been driving longer than I think Alex has been on Earth. So I've been driving like 34 years. All of a sudden in the last 10, now you're going to decide which car is in there. Up your ass with the expectant mother thing. I'm just going to say, I don't have kids. It's for a reason. And I don't want to be cheated out of my rights. Here we go. This comes full circle. I will be as passionate as an anti-masker if someone messes with me on parking in an expectant mother spot, or what's the other one? If it's like, gas efficient or compact versus bigger car, stop. You can't arbitrarily just start picking, classes of drivers who get a little advantage over me. That's not fair.
Yeah, and I would like a parking spot for childless married couples like my wife and I. I mean, that's a choice we made, and I think on some level we should be rewarded for that, for making the world a better place. I want my slice of the pie. I think everyone should pick a category that they fit in. Choose one. Relatively, disabled's not the word I'm looking for, but just a niche. Just a favorable niche. We all need to get a favorable niche, and that's mine. I'm with you, Cofield.
Wow. We actually have a wife that agrees with me on taking the big stall. I don't know about the wide base part, but Jay Lawrence just said my wife just said she agrees with you on the handicap stall. I think, by the way, I think it's totally different for women. I would never get mad if a woman is a constant special needs staller. I don't even know how to use it, but because women's bathrooms, I'm expecting just some of the most gross stuff you're ever going to see. I've heard women can be as bad as males. Like males will leave a lot of leftovers on the seat, pissing on the seat. I think women are as bad or worse than men. They're disgusting when it comes to the bathroom. I've heard so many horror stories. So if I get a chance to use the big stall as a woman so I can stretch out a little bit, I'm taking it.
Have you ever used a women's bathroom? Those things are amazing. You say they're dirty. They've all got like couches and like sinks with like toiletries and shit.
High volume. Stadium, like big workplace, casino, restaurants, any kind of bar night. It's a bloodbath in there.
Yeah, because
literally and sometimes figuratively. Bad.
I've been in women's restrooms that had like a lounge, like a corresponding couches. I mean, I have a vision.
They're magical. And honestly, why do we get the short end of the stick? There's plenty of things I can be doing in a bathroom, staying away from people. I'm just saying. Like, I would like a lounge. I would like a cool vibe, maybe a house plant and a fucking couch or something. Like, I'm refined.
Are bathroom attendants still a thing? Are there still bathroom attendants like at fancy restaurants?
Absolutely.
Vegas has them all over the place.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That's badass.
I'm going to say the rants in the past about being a little bit cheap and feeling guilt about not having, tip money that we hear all the time, where people go off on bathroom attendants. As I've gotten older and people have gotten more gross and selfish, I appreciate what the fellas do. The bathroom attendants, they do a good job. Just the basic, just the wiping down the seats and keeping the area around the toilet kind of clean. It's nice.
You didn't always feel that way?
No, what I was saying is I've seen a lot of people ranting that they feel weird because there's an attendant there. They don't want to tip them. It's like they're just trying to make a living. You don't have to take the mints. You don't have to spray deodorant on, put on the Paco Rabanne. You don't have to do any of that.
That's the lack of Vegas education and like expectations. People you see it at the blackjack table, right? Like where people don't want to ask the dealer or ask for help. Now, some dealers have no idea what they're talking about, and you certainly don't want to do that. But the misconception that dealers don't want you to win. Dealers absolutely want you to win. They want to pay you, right? But so many people, what I'm saying is they feel awkward with the experience of gaming. They don't know how they're supposed to tip. They don't know what the process is. And the same thing it goes for bathroom attendants. Like if I don't have money to tip, I probably won't I certainly won't take any cologne or mints or any of the accoutrements, if you will, in the bathroom. I might not even take a towel because I'll feel bad, but I understand the process. It's like you said, Steve, you're not forced to do it.
That's me a little bit. I'm a little bit of a Vegas rookie, I get a little intimidated at the tables and I don't know all the etiquette. But I also think back to the tipping, bathroom attendants making you feel awkward, feeling like you have to tip. I mean, I don't really like that at all. They're not panhandling on the street. It's not some homeless guy you've passed 3 times one day. Like I want to tip them. I wish that they could take digital. Sometimes I don't have the money, but I think you should always try to tip them. I like the highlight for me is, who was it in there that said, that was Brady. It's only weird when he compliments my watch when I'm at the urinal. If I go to the bathroom in a bathroom with an attendant, I always leave with higher self-esteem than when I went in. I've got a stick of gum in my mouth and I've gotten a compliment from some dude and I'm feeling fly. So if I'm on a date and I need a little pump up, hopefully that bathroom has an attendant.
It's true. They're great hype men. It's like the Flavor Flav of like date night. It's incredible what they represent.
Yes. They should unionize.
Back to the parking. Danny says veterans parking at Home Depot. Yeah, that's fine. Here's my thing at all these places. My rant earlier about special designations for expectant moms or big cars, little cars, families, carpools, and all that. I don't park near anyone anyway. And I will tell you, if the SO and I ever break up, it's going to be over my parking. Like we get along really well. We have no issues, but that is one thing. She's like, God damn it. Why can't you ever park near the store? I'm like, we got to walk. I'm not getting the car dinged. Now, to Ryan's point, I'm destroying it by having it in the sun all the time, but I'm a man of principles. I will not let someone damage my car, so I will park a mile away. And inevitably, here's another rant. I think people do it on purpose. They know why you're parking a zillion miles away, so of course they will cozy up to you and park right on you. But I'm never near the store. So yeah, if they want to, whatever, handicap spots, veteran spots, go ahead and do it. I'm not parking near you anyway. So
I hate trying to squeeze into a spot or jockey for position near the store. That's like, for me, it's not even about the worried about dings. My car has a ton of dings and scratches and whatnot, is kind of beat up. But I do not want to jockey for position and wait and deal with people leaving the store and the coming and the going and the anxiety. Like, I'll park far away and get the walk. Like, if that's, I don't like people who, I have a friend who's like, oh, we have to get the right spot. It has to be as close as possible in the right. Like, if I'm in the car longer trying to get the right spot, that's bullshit.
I go right to the spot and I got to walk further. I'm not circling the lot to find a good spot. And like I said, I don't trust anyone to not ding on my car. So if everyone can, please retweet this. I guess I'll describe it. The highlights were not Joe Kelly. Brownies versus cookies. Fuck you. I'm taking the big stall in the bathroom. And to hell with expectant moms and their parking spots. Will that do well on the retweets?
Sure.
Maybe not on the last one.
To hell with expectant moms.
To hell with them. To hell with them.
Listen,
all right, we are.
And there's a reason for it. Quote Steve Cofield. Yes. Yes.
Good reminder, Brady. Everyone go check out meetupvegas.com. See if you can get one of their packages, 20 to like 50 pounds of meat. I gave Adam Hill a 10-pound log of chuck. And, he's got a mom right around him, so they cooked it up. They cooked all of it up. They didn't eat all of it, but now they've got the hamburger prepped. They got the chuck prepped and frozen, but it's all cooked up now. So, but it's good stuff, and you can use the code word Cofield. And I'm telling you, like that steak, even though I fucked it up on several fronts that I showed you earlier, it was still awesome. It was good. I've had a minor F up on every one of these steaks, but they've, like, the steak itself just overcomes all of my cooking weaknesses. And God, man, I'm probably not going to sleep tonight. I was actually mad for 2 hours after today's show because we had an interview on the show, and I was like, God, I blew that. That was terrible. I beat myself up for 2 hours about that interview, and I'm probably going to beat myself up for another 2 hours because of the oil not in the pan for the steak. I cannot believe I did that. God, that's frustrating.
You got a lot going on, Steve. You got a lot going on.
No, I don't want excuses. I saw your initial reaction. You're like, oh, God.
It's like, yeah, come on, man.
I forgot the oil. What the fuck?
It's not that. It's, I know how much you want it. I know how bad you want it, and I want it for you.
I'm gonna nail it on all fronts. No, truth from Duluth. I'm not. It wasn't fine without the oil. That's the point. We unearthed the issue. That's why it didn't have the char on it. No, that's not. I appreciate that, but that's not me.
This is becoming the, like, I swear it's not usually like this. I normally last way longer kind of conversation. It's normally.
Steve, how many times have you fucked up a steak in your life?
Yeah. Like Razorback Scoop is like with I won't say how many women I've been with because someone could be listening, but I mean, there's been so many times I'm like, I let you down. You didn't finish, and then you get the don't sweat the small stuff. No, I'm gonna sweat.
If only I'd had the oil. No, you didn't need the oil. It was great.
Oh, God, why did I use the whole fist? All right, we gotta go.
Oh, God,
Ryan, very good job. Alex, as always, great job. We'll see you tomorrow night. Early start Wednesdays. Not so late night happy hour with Soren Petro, who we're getting to cuss more and more. And man, last week he gave like the clairvoyant rant of the year when he said that baseball not playing in a bubble was a major F up and there's no way this is going to work. And then 3 days later, one team